London Irish next up for us in the Premiership. A side we haven't beaten, but a side that you really want to go up there and give a performance against, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that's one of the nice little challenges for us. We've talked right from the first kind of day we met up in pre-season that our biggest target was to try and be as good as if not better in every game we play. We didn't get a lot at London Irish last time. They're one of the two teams in the Premiership we've yet to beat in serious competition, and those are nice little challenges for us. That and the fact that it's coming around the Christmas period when there's some big crowds about and some good fixtures get played, it make it a very good challenge, and I'm looking forward to it. I know the players are already. We've had a good training week so far this week, plenty of energy. We're a fresh training group. We've got guys coming back from injury, and most things I'm very happy with. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure we'll fly into the game. And as I keep saying, we'll take what we deserve out of the game. If we go up there and we play well, we'll deserve to get something. If we kind of are slow off the coach like we were last year, then it's a tough place to play.
You come into the game in really good form, 5 wins on the bounce now, and particularly that last result up at the Dragons showed the character and the willingness of the boys to just keep going to the end.
Yeah, and I think we were probably a bit happier with our performance than maybe the pundits were at half time. We kind of felt it was a pretty even contest till half time, but probably that we were maybe shading a few areas. We'd made the line breaks, we'd got to within a metre of the opposition line, and then what happens? A few minutes before half time, we're in control of the ball in the opposition 22. We cough it up and bang, a length of pitch try. The pitch try goes in and kind of skewed the whole half a little bit, which I thought was in a lot of ways very even. That said, we dealt with that very well and pretty much controlled the whole game after half time. There was one or two moments where we gave up a couple of soft penalties, gave them shots at goal, but other than that we controlled territory, we cranked up the pressure, and the pressure told, and we scored a couple of tries, knocked over some penalties, in the end came away with a decent win.
When you look at it, the last few weeks you've rotated a little bit and changed certain personnel, but every guy that's come in has stood up to the mark, and even people like Dave Ewers coming off the bench last week. That for you must be really satisfying to see the squad working so well.
Yeah, very satisfied, and also kind of creates its own issues. We've probably now got quite a big training and playing group who are up to speed and playing well. If you think 3 or 4 weeks ago we were probably selecting from a group of guys who are up and running in the Premiership of 25, 26 players with injuries and with other guys who maybe hadn't had much game time. Now all of a sudden we're selecting from a group of 30 plus probably who have either played in the last month in a Premiership game or in a big Amlin game when we've gone strong, and have all played well. And that's ultimately frustrating for a few guys because you can't get them all in the squad, but it does mean that we're in good nick as far as pushing on across the rest of the season goes. I'd like to think that we'll still be fresh hitting the last third of the season, last quarter of the season, and it'd be fantastic for us to still be chasing good results at that stage, having pushed strongly through this winter period. So I'm really comfortable where the squad is, with James Scaysbrook, Tom Johnson, coming back from injury now. Peter Short's close, Sorelli's close. We didn't really pick up anything too fresh. Ben White's ankle's not as bad as we first thought from the weekend. So we're slowly getting guys back to fitness. Our front row is now looking strong and fit. Our front five is getting more competitive. So we're getting back to where we want to be. And I think that's going to be the test of us over the second half of the season, is how that squad develops and stays sharp and stays together and stays focused on making sure we are better in every game we play.
I know when Peter Short broke his leg earlier in the season, you said in some ways it might be a benefit later in the season because we'll be having a refresh player, new player coming into the squad, and he's already well ahead of the game in terms of his recovery, and it'd be great to see him back. Yeah,
and I think it's like anything. Injuries and unavailabilities can get you down, and they can be very negative things, or you can kind of go, right, well, the positive effect has been that Ali Muldowney's had game time in the Premiership. Chris Bentley's had game time that he may not have had. As you say, I said to Shorty, there's only one way of looking at things. You may have missed 3 months of a season. Maybe it'll tack 3 months on to the end of your career, and that's the way you've got to look at things. As you say, he looks in good nick. We get the final bits of his rehab through. Our front five group looks stronger again in a set of players where we're already look pretty good. So, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody back up and fresh, and no doubt we'll probably have a couple of injuries, before everybody gets back, and that's kind of things how you roll along. But I'm kind of hoping. We've had our little bit of an injury hiccup this season. We had a lot of guys in our front five injured at one time, and I think we've come through that now, and hopefully we'll stay now strong to the end of the season.
The focus though is the here and now, and obviously London Irish. You would have done your homework on them. They're a side that like to play with tempo and a bit of pace about them. What are you expecting from them out there?
Yeah, very much what you're saying. It's going to be a we're imagining a high tempo game. To be fair to London Irish, they got away from us in the first quarter up there last year. We've obviously got to be guarded against that, but that really comes down to us hitting the pitch and having a good attitude and just being in the right frame of mind. We're learning that. I think Tommy Hayes often says to the guys, the benefit of experience is that you learn that you have to be flat out. That's what you learn. Experience doesn't make a game easier for you. It makes you realise how hard you've got to go at everything. And we're learning from that experience, and I think we're hitting the pitch regularly in a better frame of mind than we did last year. Last year there was the odd game where we did draw breath and we were feeling a little bit comfortable with ourselves, and I think we've maybe learnt that there's never a comfortable time in the Premiership, and hopefully that's how we're feeling now. The guys will start getting a bit edgy over Christmas and getting ready for a couple of big games, and for me, like I say, it's just about us hitting the pitch, putting in a good performance, taking it on the chin whatever happens, because the truth of it is, if you perform well you give yourself a chance. You don't always win if you perform well, but you give yourself a chance, and for 9 games out of 10 that's what we've done. We've been there or thereabouts. Sometimes you win, sometimes you come up a little bit short, but if you're there or thereabouts, you're a good side. And we're a good side. We're a tough team to beat. We've cranked things up defensively in the last few weeks, and I just think we're playing with a nice balance, and as I say, through this winter period we're getting most things right.
Third in the table at Christmas is nice to finish off in a similar position at the end of 2011. It's been a great year again, Rob, a lot of progression. How will you look back on it in?
I won't look back on it until we know exactly where we're ending up. I think as far the
division's so tight though.
Yeah, the division's so tight. We've only won 50% of our games and we're in third. Five games. I think everybody's won games in the Premiership this year, which I don't think was the case this stage last year. That bottom couple of clubs were really fighting it out and dropping away from everybody else. That's not really the case this year, and so I'm very guarded about where I feel we're heading. I'm very pleased, like I say, that getting points out of 9 or 10 games means we're very competitive, and being very competitive over the course of a season should see you fine. But that comes through a lot of hard work, a good training environment, and it's just being enthusiastic and ambitious about how good we want to be. If we look at the table now at third and think job's done for this year, the Premiership is going to become a very tough and horrible place for us. If we look at the Premiership and say it's fantastic being third, we're going to fight to stay here, then the Premiership could be quite a nice and interesting place for us, and the balance of the two is what we've got to make sure we get right.
You've said in the past though, this is the stage now where the good sides really crank the gears up and they start hitting that big period. It's lessons I suppose from last year that we've got to move with the times, as it were.
Yeah, that's right, and I think, as I said, that's why I'm pleased with the freshness of the training group and that we're actually getting through our injuries, because it may well mean that we're in a position to start cranking things up over a period. We tend to go at things flat out and get everything we can out of every game, and I did think there was a little element of us having a post-Christmas kind of tiredness issue a little bit last year, because we put so much into the first period of the game. We finished the end of the season okay, with a couple of wins, but the reality is, I think there was a little period there for a month or two where we did draw breath. I want to avoid that happening again. I want us to make sure we can go flat out every single game. We did freshen up the squad through 2 tough Amling games. As I say, that's given us a broader squad to select from who we feel are on form, and we've got to make sure that all those guys keep pushing through right to the end of the season, and then we'll take the pats on the back. At the minute, like I say, five wins doesn't guarantee you anything in the Premiership. All 5 wins guarantees you're going to be somewhere around the bottom fighting it out. That's the reality. So we've got to keep pushing on, keep collecting points. Like I say, we'll take what we get at the end of the season, but hopefully after we've worked hard and we've achieved some more things yet.
And finally, the other challenge, I suppose, with this festive period is just the closeness of 2 games, and which will be something new. You don't normally turn around in 4 days.
Yeah, I think, the Premiership is a very tough competition, but we have got quite a few boys here who in the Championship and with the British and Irish Cup and whatever have put together 3 games in a week on numerous occasions, and we know how to deal with that as a coaching group. The games aren't of the same intensity, but they're still physical, and we've managed to deal with that pretty well before. Some of the players really enjoy it. You know, some players enjoy nothing more than just playing games and not training very much. That's pretty much how next week's going to be. It's going to be about getting back from London Irish and looking after the boys, and getting the stiffness out of the bodies, and looking forward to smashing yourself into things again. So it's an exciting period, and it's a period that I think any of the teams get these next 2 games right will feel really comfortable pushing into the new year. You get these 2 wrong, and things get tougher for you. So we're really going to focus on them, and I think it will give us a good indication of how the rest of the season might pan out for us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob.
All right.